3 seconds. That's how long Chief Warrant Officer Garrett Cross hesitated before shouting a warning. 3 seconds between seeing the threat and acting on it. 3 seconds that cost his best friend his life. He counted them every night for 7 years. 1. Cross sees the glint. Third-floor window. Sniper scope catching sunlight. 2. His mind processes, calculates, confirms. Ethan is in the sightline, exposed, vulnerable. 3. Cross's mouth opens. The warning forms. Too late. Always too late. The crack of the rifle shot echoes across the courtyard. Ethan Reeves drops. Syria. 2017. The morning smelled like death. The village of Al-Qaim squatted against the desert horizon like a corpse left too long in the sun. Mud brick walls pocked with bullet holes. Smoke rising lazy from somewhere beyond the marketplace. The air thick with cordite and the sweet, sick stench of burning rubber. Cross moved through the alley, 51 years old, 30 years in the Navy SEALs. His rifle swept corners with the mechanical precision of a man who had done this too many times to count. Behind him, Master Chief Ethan Reeves cleared doorways. Smooth, professional. Brothers in everything but blood. They had made a promise once. Afghanistan, 2009. Lying in a foxhole while mortars rained down. If I don't make it, you watch my family. Cross had laughed then, told Ethan he was being dramatic. Neither of them was laughing now. The alley opened into a courtyard. Cross raised his fist. The team of 8 froze. Something was wrong. The stillness screamed it. Laundry hung motionless on a line. A fountain sat dry in the center, and beneath a woven mat, freshly disturbed earth. I eat. Ethan keyed his radio. Whisper quiet. Stone's team, hold position. I've got a device. Cross grabbed his arm. Wait for the robot. Ethan's eyes moved past him. Through the shattered window of the building beyond, shadows, movement, civilians, maybe 6, maybe 7, huddled in what remained of their home. No time, Ethan said. Pressure plate. They move, it blows. Then we evacuate first. Triggerman could be watching. I can defuse in 3 minutes. Cross's jaw locked. The math of war, risk one to save many. He had seen this calculation 1,000 times. Hated it every single time. I don't like it. Ethan smiled. That easy, confident smile that had carried them both through 15 years of impossible odds. You never do, brother. That's why you're still alive. He moved before Cross could stop him. Low and fast across open ground, hands already reaching for his EOD kit. Wire cutters. Multimeter. Sweat running down his face, but hands steady as stone. Cross hovered from the alley. Rifle sweeping windows. Rooftops. Every shadow a threat. His heart hammered, but his breathing stayed controlled. In through the nose. Out through the mouth. The rhythm they had been taught decades ago in a war that felt like yesterday. Ethan reached the device. Knelt. Began working. 30 seconds. Russian design. Triple redundancy. Cross scanned the perimeter. High windows, doorways, roof lines, looking for threats. Then he saw it. 3rd floor window. Opposite building. A flash. Not glass. Metal. Rifle barrel. Scope glint. Aimed directly at Ethan. Cross's training kicked in. Identified the eye. SS react. 1 second, he sees it. 2 seconds. He confirms. Sniper. Elevated position. Clear sight line to Ethan. 3 seconds. His mouth opens to shout the warning. The rifle cracks. Ethan jerks. Falls forward. The bullet took him in the upper chest, above the body armor. Through the gap, the kill shot snipers trained for. Cross was moving before Ethan hit the ground. The courtyard erupted. Gunfire from multiple positions. His team returning fire. Someone screaming coordinates. The crack of breaching charges. All of it distant, underwater, unreal. Cross ran. Bullets kicked dirt. Something hot kissed his shoulder. He didn't slow. He reached Ethan, slid behind the fountain, hands already moving, checking, assessing, the medic in him cataloging while another part screamed wordless rage. Blood, too much blood. The sniper round had torn through Ethan's upper chest, shattered collarbone, nicked the subclavian artery. His breathing came wet and rattling. Contact, 3rd floor, northeast, Ethan whispered, his eyes already losing focus. Shut up. Cross's hands pressed the wound, trying to stop the bleeding, but it pulsed between his fingers. Hot, slick, unstoppable. Save your breath. Maya. The name hit Cross like a fist. My daughter. Ethan's eyes found his face. Held there. Desperate. 15. Sarah died last year, cancer. It's just Maya now. You're not dying. Stone. Ethan's hand gripped Cross's wrist. Strong. Promise me. Don't. If she comes looking, if she wants this life. Blood flecked his lips. You train her. Don't let them break her. Don't let her think dying is the only way to matter. His voice cracked. Teach her to live with honor, not die for it. Cross's vision blurred. 30 years, hundreds of missions, dozens of close calls, brothers lost. And it all came down to this, kneeling in Syrian dirt, watching his best friend bleed out. 3 seconds. 3 seconds he had hesitated. 3 seconds that might have saved Ethan's life. I promise, Cross said, voice breaking. I swear it, brother. I'll watch over her. Ethan smiled. That same easy smile. Even now. Good man. Don't blame yourself. You did everything right. Just bad luck. His eyes closed. Cross working frantically. Chest compressions. Rescue breathing. Everything he had learned in 3 decades as a SEAL medic. But he already knew. Some injuries you don't survive. Master Chief Ethan Reeves died in that courtyard at 0743. The IED never detonated. The civilians lived. Mission success. Cross carried the guilt home in a box next to Ethan's dog tags. 7 years later, he was still carrying it. The Pacific Ocean glittered like broken glass under the California sun. Coronado Naval Amphibious Base, 2024. Chief Warrant Officer Garrett Cross stood at his office window. 58 years old now. Body held together by scar tissue and stubbornness. Mind that woke screaming twice a week. Always the same dream. The sniper scope. The 3 seconds. The crack of the rifle. Too late, always too late. On his desk, retirement papers. Signature required. Effective date, 6 months. 35 years of service reduced to PDF files and bureaucratic checkboxes. He picked up the pen, put it down, picked it up again. The door opened without knocking. Captain Bradley Voss stepped inside. 52, 20 years Navy, 0 combat deployments. Uniform immaculate. Shoes mirror shined. Everything about him screamed headquarters. Desk jockey, career climber. Chief Cross. Cross strayed in old habits. Captain. Voss moved to the window, looked out at recruits struggling through obstacle courses. Beautiful day. Yes, sir. Shame to waste it on outdated training. Cross said nothing. Sometimes silence was the only acceptable response. Voss turned, expression carefully neutral. I've reviewed Hell Week protocols. Injury rates are unacceptable. 3 hospitalizations last cycle. 1 permanent shoulder damage. Lawsuits costing millions. They signed waivers. Waivers don't protect against negligence. Voss folded his arms. The model is changing, Chief. Adaptive protocols, psychological resilience training, VR simulations, evidence-based methodology. We don't need to break men to build them. Something cold settled in Cross's gut. You're shutting down traditional Hell Week, modernizing it. Is there a difference? Voss's eyes hardened. This is your last cycle. You've made your retirement clear. I'm asking you to go gracefully. Don't fight this. Cross looked at him. Really looked. Saw the ambition, the certainty, the absolute conviction that progress meant erasing everything that came before. Permission to speak freely, sir? Granted. You're making a mistake. SEALs aren't forged in classrooms. They're forged in pain, in cold water and burning muscles, and the absolute certainty that quitting is always an option. He paused, choosing not to quit. That's what separates us. That's the old way. That's the only way that works. Voss shook his head, almost pitying. Your era is over, Cross, the silent warriors, the ones who measure worth by suffering. He moved toward the door. The new military needs smart, not tough. It needs both. I'll settle for smart. Voss paused. One more thing. Your request to mentor a recruit. Maya Reeves, denied. Cross kept his face neutral. Standard practice, sir. Senior instructor's mentor. Not when there's personal connection. I did my homework. Her father was EOD, killed in Syria. You were there. I was. Conflict of interest. She succeeds or fails on her own merits. No guilt-driven mentorship. Voss's voice softened slightly. I know you want to help, but sometimes the best help is stepping back. The door closed. Cross stood alone. Retirement papers unsigned. Morning sun painting everything gold. Outside, people pushed themselves to impossible limits. Inside, he felt something he hadn't felt in 7 years. Purpose. He walked to his file cabinet. Classified drawer. Found what he needed. A photograph. Ethan Reeves, grinning, dust-covered. Afghanistan, before Syria, before death, when brotherhood felt eternal. Cross traced the edge. Your daughter's here, brother, he whispered. Time to keep my promise. But first, he needed to find her. The beach at sunset bled orange and gold. Most recruits were at mess or passed out in bunks. But one figure remained, running. Maya Reeves, 23, 5'7", 135, too small by every metric. Her file said college athlete, cross-country, academic scholarship, honors graduate, no military background, just a dead father and a dying promise. Cross watched her run, form perfect, controlled, not showing off. This was someone who ran because running kept the screaming quiet. He understood that better than he wanted to admit. She completed her loop, slowed, grabbed water. That's when she saw him. Back straightened, automatic. Chief, Cross moved closer. Up close, he saw Ethan in every line of her face. Same sharp cheekbones, same dark eyes. But where Ethan smiled easy, Maya's expression held carefully controlled nothing. Reeves, sir. Silence. Waves crashing, rhythmic, eternal. You're past curfew, Cross said. Couldn't sleep. That happened often? No answer, which was answer enough. Cross sat on a concrete barrier. Maya joined him after a moment. Respectful distance, neither looking at the other. Two people watching the ocean pretend peace. Your mother, Cross said. I heard she passed 2 years ago. Yes, sir. I should have checked on you both after your father. You didn't owe us anything. That's not how brotherhood works. Cross turned to look at her. Your father was my brother, not blood. Choice. That means something. Maya's jaw tightened, hands clenched, released, control. Mom never recovered, she said quietly. After Dad died, she stopped. Went through motions, pills, therapy. Nothing worked. She paused. I came home from college one day and found her. Pills, intentional. Cross felt the words like shrapnel. He had known Sarah Reeves, had been at their wedding, held Maya as a baby. Then Ethan deployed and deployed again, and decades passed, and people you loved became ghosts. I'm sorry. Dad told me about you. Maya's voice stayed steady. Said if I ever wanted to be a SEAL, you were the one to train me, the only man who'd understand. Why do you want this? She looked at him then, Ethan's eyes. Because they're gone, and this is all I have left. His legacy, his purpose. If I can't have him, at least I can understand what he died for. Cross wanted to tell her she was wrong, that seeking understanding and pain only brought more pain. But looking at her face, at the iron beneath grief, he knew she wouldn't hear it. Not yet. Some lessons had to be learned the hard way. Voss denied my request to mentor you. I know. He thinks I'll go easy because of your father. Will you? Cross smiled grimly. No, I'll be harder on you than anyone. Because when you walk through hell, I need to know you walk back out. Only way to know is make the hell real. Hell, Maya nodded. Sharp, definitive. Good. Silence as darkness fell. Other recruits laughed somewhere. Bonding. Maya stayed separate. Apart. Cross recognized that isolation. Had lived it for decades. Get some sleep, Reeves. Tomorrow's going to hurt. Yes, sir. She stood, started away, stopped. Chief? Yeah? Thank you for being there when he died. Cross's throat tightened. Memory of that courtyard, the sniper scope. 3 seconds hesitation. 3 seconds that might have changed everything. I wish I'd been faster. You were there. That's enough. She disappeared into darkness. Cross sat alone. Ocean breathing. Phone buzzed. Text from Voss. Retirement reminder. He deleted it. The question wasn't whether he would mentor Maya Reeves. The question was whether he could keep the promise without destroying them both. Tomorrow would tell. But tonight he had hope. And for a man who carried ghosts, hope was dangerous. The whistle screamed at 0400. 40 recruits stumbled from bunks. 3 hours sleep. Day 1 of week 2. The real testing hadn't started. Now it would. Cross stood on the beach. Pre-dawn darkness. Behind him the Pacific roared. 50-degree water. Hypothermia in 20 minutes. Recruits formed up. Maya in the third row. Face blank. Dark circles under her eyes. She hadn't slept either. Next to her stood a tall Marine, Jacob Martinez. The others had already nicknamed him Hawk for the predatory way he watched everyone. Whisper laughing with his buddies. Cross couldn't hear words but could guess. Something about women. Weakness. The same tired script every cycle. Behind Maya, a former college wrestler named Derek Thompson. Big, strong, cocky. The kind who thought size mattered more than heart. 2 rows back. Twin brothers from Texas. Kyle and Kevin Dalton. Identical. Even their instructors mixed them up. They spoke in half sentences, finishing each other's thoughts. And at the end of the line, a quiet kid from Montana everyone called Ghost. Real name Robert Chen. Barely spoke. Moved like smoke. Unnerving in his silence. 40 recruits total. Maya one of only 3 women. The other 2 had already started eyeing the exit. This world belonged to men who measured worth in suffering. Women had to be twice as good to earn half the respect. Maya would learn that soon enough. Martinez! Cross's voice cut through darkness like a blade. Hawk snapped to attention. Sir, you got something to say? No, sir. Good. Because if you've got energy to run your mouth, you've got energy for extra laps. Full gear, move. Hawk paled, started jogging. His buddies found sand fascinating. Cross addressed the group. Some of you think you know what's coming. Hell Week, the crucible, the thing that separates SEALs from everyone else. He walked the line, meeting eyes, judging. You're wrong. You don't know anything. Knowing and experiencing are different things. Today you learn the difference. He pointed to the ocean. Surf immersion, 30 minutes. Link arms, hold the line. Waves will try to break you. Hypothermia sets in at 15 minutes. Your body will beg to quit. Your mind will offer 1,000 reasons why it's okay to walk away. Pause. This is where you find out who you are. No one moved. Did I stutter? Move. They ran. First wave hit like frozen hammers. Cross watched. Expression unchanged. He had seen this 1,000 times. Initial shock. Gasping. Body's panic response to cold. This was where most broke. Not from pain, from discomfort. From grinding misery of being cold and wet and tired. Recruits formed a line, arms linked. Lying back in surf. Each wave crashed over faces. Salt water in noses, mouths, eyes. Breathing became tactical. Wait for wave. Grab breath. Hold. Surface. Repeat. 5 minutes. First quit. Big guy. Former college football. 6'4", 240. Size had always been advantage. Now betrayal. More mass meant more heat loss. He stood. Walked to beach. Didn't look back. 10 minutes. 3 more gone. Thompson among them. The wrestler tapped out. Too much pride. Not enough purpose. 15 minutes. Core temperature dropping. Cross saw it in movements. Shivering. Slurred coordination. Danger zone. Where pride could kill. He watched carefully, ready to pull anyone showing true hypothermia. 20 minutes. 28 remained out of 40. Cross's eyes found Maya. She lay perfectly still, not fighting waves, letting them wash over. Lips blue, body shaking, but face focused, distant, like she had gone somewhere else entirely. Next to her, Hawk struggled, breathing ragged, panic creeping. I can't, he asked. Can't feel my legs. Maya's voice cut through panic, quiet, steady. Yes, you can. Count with me. 7 seconds between waves. Breathe. Hawk looked at her, found something in her eyes. Calm, control. 1, Maya counted. 2, 3. They breathed together. Wave came. They held. 25 minutes. Recruit 2 spots from Maya started thrashing. True panic. Cross was in water before the man could hurt himself. Pulled him out. Thermal blanket. The recruit cried, ashamed. Cross said nothing, just pointed to medical. 30 minutes. Whistle blew. 28 remained. They stumbled from water. Hypothermic, exhausted, triumphant. First test survived. Maya walked past Cross, skin pale as bone, water streaming. She didn't celebrate, didn't smile, just moved toward warming station with same controlled efficiency shown in water. Hawk followed, caught up. Hey, voice shaking. Thanks for talking me through. Maya glanced at him. We're a team. That's the job. She kept walking. Cross watched her go, saw Ethan's discipline, focus, but also something else, something harder. A determination born not from wanting to succeed, but having no other option. It worried him. Lieutenant Commander Sarah Chen approached. 42, former Marine, senior instructor now. The Reeves girl, impressive. Yeah. You worried? Cross didn't answer immediately. Watch it, Maya strip wet uniform. Mechanical precision, no wasted movement. No acknowledgement of excruciating cold. I'm worried she doesn't know how to quit. Chen raised eyebrow. Isn't that what we want? No, we want people who know when to quit and choose not to. Different from people who don't see it as option. You think she's damaged? I think she's driven. Sometimes that's more dangerous than weak. Day progressed with mechanical brutality. Log PT, 6-person teams, 200-pound logs, through sand, up and down beach. For hours, arms screaming, backs breaking. The log became everything. Weight, splinters, impossible burden teaching them to suffer together. Maya's team, her, Hawk, the Dalton twins, Ghost, and a recruit named Williams. They struggled. Maya was smallest. Every lift, she bore disproportionate load. Arms trembled, face went white, but never asked to switch, never complained. Hawk tried helping, adjusted grip to take more weight. Maya shot him a look, sharp, definitive. Don't. You're going to hurt yourself. Then I hurt myself. Don't need your charity. He backed off, respected the line she drew. Cross watched dynamic, saw team forming despite Maya's resistance. That was the point. Weight impossible alone. Forced cooperation. Trust. Willingness to rely on others when pride screamed to do it yourself. Hour 3. Maya's hands bleeding. Rough wood tore through gloves. Open blisters. She wrapped them athletic tape. Kept going. Hour 4. Team falling behind. Exhaustion setting. Log felt like 1,000 pounds. Every step agony. Cross called halt. Reeves, front and center. Maya set down her end. Ran to where Cross stood. Breathing controlled, but body shook with fatigue. Sir. Cross looked at her hands. Blood seeping through tape. The way she held herself. Rigid, refusing to acknowledge pain. You're hurt. I'm operational, sir. That wasn't a question. Jaw tightened. Permission to continue training, sir. Cross studied her. Saw his own reflection 20 years ago. Same stubborn refusal to acknowledge limits. It made him good SEAL, also left him with body held together by scar tissue and mind that woke screaming. Denied. Report to medical. Get those hands treated. Sir, I can still... That's an order, Reeves. She held his gaze. For a moment, Cross thought she might argue. Push back. Then discipline one. Sharp salute. Yes, sir. Turn to go. Reeves stopped. Your father was toughest man I knew. But he also knew when to let medic do his job. No shame acknowledging you're human. With respect, sir, my father died because someone hesitated 3 seconds. I won't make that mistake. The words hit Cross like a sniper round. She walked away before he could respond. Chen appeared at his shoulder. She knows. Knows what? About the 3 seconds. About you hesitating. Chen's voice was quiet. Ethan's after-action report is classified. But Maya's smart. She's pieced it together. Cross felt something cold settle in his chest. She blames me. No, she blames herself for not being there, for not being good enough to save him. That's why she's here. That's why she's destroying herself. Chen paused. You need to tell her the truth. That 3 seconds wouldn't have mattered. That Ethan was dead the moment that sniper pulled the trigger. I don't know that. Yes, you do. You were a medic for 30 years. Subclavian artery, urban combat, no medevac. He was gone. You know it. She needs to know it too. Cross said nothing, but his mind was already working, calculating, planning. Maybe it was time for the hardest conversation. Obstacle course waited like malevolent God. Cross designed it 20 years ago. Every element calculated to break body and spirit. Rope climb, 75 feet, no safety line. Mud pit, 50 yards waist-deep sludge under barbed wire. The wall, 15 feet wet plywood, smooth, no handholds, only teamwork and desperation. 28 recruits remained. Cross raised starting pistol. On my mark. 45 minutes. Anyone doesn't finish, runs it again. Tomorrow, every day until you do. Fired. They ran. Maya hit rope climb first. Hands bandaged. Fresh tape. Medical clearance reluctant. She grabbed rope. Started climbing. Hand over hand. Legs wrapped tight. 50 feet, 60. Bandages seeping red. 70, almost there. Hand slipped. She caught herself. Biceps screaming, swinging in wind, 60 feet above concrete. One hand gripping, other scrabbling for purchase. Cross watched, heart hammering, ready to call safety net. But something stopped him. Look on Maya's face. Not panic, calculation. problem solving, working angles. She swung legs, used momentum, caught rope with other hand, resumed climbing, reached top, rang bell. Started down. Mud pit destroyed them. 30 yards in, recruits coughing, choking on putrid water. Barbed wire caught uniforms. Skin, hair. Forward progress measured in inches. Hawk got tangled. Wire wrapped his pack. He thrashed. Made it worse. Maya reached him. Assessed. Reached back with knife. Cut him free. 3 quick slices. Didn't speak, just pointed forward. Keep moving. They crawled together. Wall waited at end. Smooth. Impossible. Recruits hit it and stopped. Staring up. Trying to figure trick. No trick. Only physics and trust. Maya arrived with team. Looked at wall. At teammates. Made decision. Hawk, biggest, bottom, Dalton's on his shoulders, Ghost and Williams next. I go last. What about you? Hawk asked. You pull me up. That's suicide. You'll be alone at bottom. Then you better not drop me. They formed human ladder. Hawk braced. Dalton twins on his shoulders. Ghost and Williams on theirs. Top man scrambled over, reached back, started pulling people up. One by one, team ascended. Maya waited at bottom. Finally, only she remained. 15 feet of wall, no handholds, no way up. Except trust. She backed up, sprinted, jumped. Fingers caught Hawk's outstretched, and Mayan. Heartbeat she dangled. 135 pounds of determination swinging in space. Then Hawk pulled. Others grabbed, hauled her up like fish on line. She rolled over top, lay on back, breathing hard, bleeding, exhausted, but victorious. Cross watched from below, saw team dynamic. Way they moved from individuals to unit. That was point. Wall couldn't be beaten alone, only together. Maya's time 39 minutes, third best of day. As she walked past to cool down, Cross spoke quietly. Your father would be proud. She stopped, turned. My father's dead because someone hesitated. The words hung in the air. Accusation, truth, pain. Cross met her eyes, time for honesty. Walk with me. They walked to the edge of the training grounds, away from others. The sun setting over the Pacific, painting everything gold and red. You think I killed your father, Cross said. I think you hesitated. The report said 3 seconds between visual contact with the sniper and your warning. 3 seconds in combat is eternity. It is. So you admit it. I admit I hesitated. I don't admit it would have made a difference. Cross turned to face her. Maya, your father was hit in the subclavian artery. Do you know what that means? It means he bled out. It means he was dead in 90 seconds. In urban combat, no medevac immediately available. Even if I'd shouted instantly, he still had to process the warning, identify the threat, move to cover. Call it 2 seconds minimum. That sniper was good. He would have adjusted, fired anyway. You don't know that. I do. I was a combat medic for 30 years. I've seen hundreds of gunshot wounds. Subclavian bleeds, they're fatal without immediate surgical intervention. We were 20 minutes from the nearest field hospital. Your father never had a chance. Maya's eyes filled with tears. Then why did you hesitate? Because I'm human. Because in that split second, my brain was still confirming what I was seeing, making sure it wasn't a reflection, a trick of light. By the time I was certain, it was too late. You should have warned him anyway. You're right, I should have. And I've spent 7 years wishing I had. But Maya, those 3 seconds didn't kill your father. That sniper did. And the war did. And bad luck did. She looked away, tears streaming down her face. I need to blame someone. I know, blame me if it helps. But don't blame yourself. And don't destroy yourself trying to make up for something that was never your fault. She nodded, small, broken. Cross did something he'd never done with a recruit. He hugged her, brief, paternal, the kind Ethan would have given. When they separated, both had tears in their eyes. Get some rest, Cross said, real rest. Tomorrow we start building on what you've survived. Yes, sir. She walked away, slower, like a weight had been lifted. Cross stood watching the sunset, feeling lighter than he had in years. The truth was out, the guilt was shared, and maybe, just maybe, they could both start healing. That night, Cross sat in quarters. Base quiet, most recruits' unconscious moment heads hit pillows. He should sleep too. 58-year-old bodies needed rest. Instead, sat at desk, staring at locked drawer. After long moment, opened it. Inside, metal box. Government issued, fireproof, carried through dozen deployments. Never opened. Couldn't bear to. Until now, hands shook as he lifted lid. Ethan's personal effects, dog tags, watch, wedding ring, wallet, and underneath envelope, yellowed, sealed. Cross's name in Ethan's block letters. He had never opened it, told himself not ready, grief too fresh, but sitting here 7 years later, knew the truth. He had been afraid of what Ethan might say, afraid of accusation. You hesitated, could have saved me. Why didn't you move faster? Hands shook, breaking seal. Letter dated 3 days before mission, before Al came, before death. Stone, if you're reading this, I'm gone. Don't beat yourself up. We both knew this day would come. 30 years in teams? Borrowed time. I need you to do something. Maya, my daughter, 15 now, ready for college, smart as hell, stubborn, gets that from her mother. Sarah's sick, cancer. Won't tell Maya how bad, but I know. 6 months maybe? Less. When I'm gone and she's gone, Maya will be alone. She's going to want to understand, want to know what I died for, why I chose this over being home. In Stone, she's going to make same choice. I see it in her eyes, that look we both had at 18. That certainty purpose matters more than safety. When she comes looking, and she will, I need you to train her. But Stone, here's thing, don't train her to be me. Don't teach her sacrifice is only currency. Don't let her think dying for something is more important than living for it. I made mistake. Thought being absent was noble. Thought mission justified everything. But lying here tonight, packing gear, all I think about is Maya's birthdays I missed. Times Sarah cried alone. Moments I'll never get back. If Maya wants to be SEAL, teach her. But teach her different. Teach her strength isn't just endurance. It's knowing when to let people help. Understanding surviving isn't same as living. Choosing mission, but also choosing to come home. I know you, Stone. I know you carry every loss, every mission, every choice. But brother, listen. You can't save everyone. Never could. That's not failure. That's just war. If I die and you're reading this, don't spend rest of your life trying to make up for it. Just take care of my girl. Show her there's more than one way to honor duty. And Stone, thank you for 30 years brotherhood, for being one constant in chaos, for being someone I could trust with my life and my family. You're a better man than you think you are. Your brother, Ethan, cross-read twice, third time, hands shaking, vision blurred. Accusation he feared wasn't there. No anger, no blame. Only understanding, only love. And responsibility suddenly heavier than any burden before. Folded letter carefully. Put back in envelope. Didn't put back in box. Tucked into pocket. Next to heart. Ethan had known. Seen own death coming, and instead of fear, felt regret. Not for missions, for moments, for birthdays and anniversaries and quiet evenings sacrifice stole. Cross thought about Maya. Way she pushed, way she isolated, way she wore grief like armor. She was making same mistake Ethan made, confusing endurance with purpose, pain with meaning. And Cross had promised to teach her different. He stood, checked watch, 0200, base dead quiet. Good. Walked through darkness to recruit barracks. Found Maya's bunk. She wasn't in it. Of course. Sleep was weakness. Rest was surrender. Found her on beach, running, always running. Reeves! She stopped, turned, breathing hard but controlled. Sir, Cross walked closer. Moonlight painted everything silver. Why do you run? Conditioning, sir. Bullshit. You run 3 miles every morning with team. This is 4th run today. Why? Didn't answer immediately. Looked at ocean. Waves rolled eternal, indifferent to human suffering. Because when I stop moving, I think too much. About how he died doing what I'm trying to do. How if I fail, nothing he sacrificed mattered. How if I quit, I'm dishonoring his memory. Cross stepped beside her, stood shoulder to shoulder, 2 people carrying ghosts. Your father didn't die so you could punish yourself. You don't know what he died for. Actually, I do. Cross pulled out letter, handed it to her. He died hoping you'd learn from his mistakes, not repeat them. Maya took letter, read by moonlight. Cross watched face, saw tears she refused to let fall, saw hands tighten on paper, saw moment words hit home. Finished reading, folded carefully, handed back. He was wrong about you. You're exactly as good as you think you are. Cross smiled sadly. He was better man than both of us. Then why did he die and we didn't? Question hung between them. Raw, honest. Thing neither said aloud until now. Because sometimes good people die for no reason. And sometimes lucky people live when they shouldn't. That's not justice, that's just life. What matters is what we do with time we're given. Maya looked at him. Really looked. First time armor cracked. Just little. Just enough to see scared 23-year-old beneath warrior facade. I don't know how to do anything else. Don't know how to stop fighting. Then don't stop. Just fight for right reasons. Fight to honor him, not join him. She nodded slowly, processing. They stood in silence. Ocean breathed. Distance, helicopter passed, lights blinking red against black sky. Get some sleep, Reeves. Real sleep. That's order. Yes, sir. Started to walk away. Stopped. Chief? Yeah? Thank you for keeping your promise. Cross's throat tightened. Haven't kept it yet. Still got a long way to go. She smiled. Small, genuine. First real smile he had seen from her. Then I guess we better get started. She disappeared into darkness. Cross stood alone on beach. Ethan's letter warm against chest. Talisman, reminder. Pulled out phone, sent text to Voss. Request denied. I'm mentoring Reeves, officially or not. Your choice. Response came almost immediately. This will end badly for both of you. Cross smiled grimly. Type back. Probably, but at least it'll end honest. Put phone away. Looked out at ocean. Waves crashed steady and sure. Been doing it millions of years. Would keep doing it long after he was gone. Somewhere in that vastness, Ethan's ghost rested, released, free. Cross whispered to darkness. I got her, brother. I won't let her break. Wind carried words out to sea. Tomorrow would bring new pain, new tests, new chances to fail. But tonight, standing on this beach, Cross felt something he hadn't felt in 7 years. Peace. Promise was no longer burden. It was purpose. And purpose, he was learning, was the only thing that made surviving worth it. The ocean looked different on day 6. Darker, somehow. Like it knew what was coming. Hell Week. The real Hell Week. Not the sanitized version Voss wanted. Not the VR simulation with safe words and psychological counseling. The old school crucible that had forged warriors for 70 years. Cross stood on the beach at 0300. Behind him, 30 instructors waited. In front of him, 28 recruits remained from the original 40. The week had already called themselves. Now came the test for everyone else. The test that separated human from legend. Maya Reeves stood in the front row, eyes forward, face blank. But Cross saw the tension in her shoulders, the way her hands clenched and released. She knew. They all knew. This was the week you discovered who you really were, or who you weren't. Behind Maya, Hawk Martinez stood ready. The former Marine had transformed over the past days. No more jokes, no more swagger, just focus. The man who had mocked Maya on day 1 now positioned himself as her protector. Next to Hawk, the Dalton twins flanked Ghost. Their 6-person team had become a unit, a family forged in suffering. But Cross noticed someone else watching Maya with different eyes. Sarah Chen. Not the instructor, a different Sarah Chen. 24 years old, former Army Ranger candidate who had washed out and transferred to Navy. She stood 3 rows back, and her gaze on Maya held something cold, something calculating. Jealousy. Cross had seen it before. Some people couldn't stand watching others succeed where they struggled. Sarah Chen was one of them. He made a mental note. Watch that one. Cross raised a bullhorn. Hell Week begins now. For the next 5 days, you will get 4 hours of sleep total. Not per night. You will be cold, wet, sandy, exhausted beyond anything you have experienced. Your body will beg to quit. Your mind will offer you 1,000 rational reasons why stopping makes sense. He lowered the bullhorn, let the silence stretch. The only thing keeping you here is the man or woman next to you and the promise you made to yourself. That's it. No glory, no audience, just you and the choice. He raised his arm. Serve torture. 1 hour, move. They ran. The first hour destroyed 6 recruits. The second hour took 4 more. By hour 3, 18 remained. Maya among them. Her lips blue, body shaking uncontrollably. But her eyes stayed focused, distant, like she had learned to separate her consciousness from her suffering. Cross had seen that look before, in combat medics working on wounded while under fire, in pilots nursing damaged aircraft home, in men who had pushed past the point where most humans broke. It worried him as much as it impressed him. Hawk lasted the full 3 hours. Barely. When the whistle finally blew, Coronado, he crawled from the water on hands and knees, vomited salt water onto the sand. lay gasping like a fish. Maya walked out. Walked. Sarah Chen noticed. Her eyes narrowed. Cross intercepted Maya at the warming station. How are you doing this? She looked at him. Really looked. For the first time, he saw past the control. Saw the raw determination underneath. The thing that scared him. I died with him, she said quietly, in that courtyard, when that sniper pulled the trigger. Part of me died too. This? She gestured at her shaking body. This is just proof I'm still breathing. Pain means nothing when you're already dead inside. Cross felt like he'd been punched. Maya, she blinked. First time he'd used her first name since their beach conversation. You're not dead. You are hurting. There's a difference. Is there? Before he could answer, Lieutenant Commander Sarah Chen approached. The instructor, not the recruit. Her face showed concern. Chief, Captain Voss wants you. His office. Now. Cross looked at Maya. Wanted to say more, but duty called. Always did. We're not done with this conversation. Yes, sir. She turned away. Back to being Reeves. Back to being the machine. Cross walked to the command building, each step heavier than the last. Voss's office smelled like coffee and ambition. The captain sat behind his desk, perfectly pressed uniform despite the early hour. Files spread in front of him, a laptop open, everything organized with the precision of a man who had never operated in chaos. Close the door, Voss said. Cross did. Sit. I'll stand, sir. Voss's jaw tightened, but he let it go. I've been reviewing the injury reports from the past week. 3 recruits with hypothermia, 2 with stress fractures, 1 with signs of rhabdomyolysis. Your Hell Week is a liability nightmare. It's also effective, sir. Effective at what? Breaking people? At finding out who breaks before we put them in real combat. Voss stood, walked to the window, looked out at the beach where recruits were being herded into the next torture. There are better ways, smarter ways. With respect, sir, you've never been in combat. You don't know what breaks people. I do, and I'd rather find out here where we can stop it than downrange where they get their teammates killed. Voss turned, his eyes hard. I could order you to stop, right now. Shut down Hell Week, send the recruits home. You could, but? Cross met his gaze, level, unflinching. But then you'd have to explain to the Admiral why you're scrapping 70 years of proven methodology because of lawsuits. And the Admiral, he's old school. He went through Hell Week. His son went through Hell Week. His grandson is going through it next year. Voss's face reddened. Are you threatening me, Chief? No, sir. Just reminding you that some traditions exist because they work, not because they're easy. Silence stretched between them. A battle of wills. Old guard versus new blood. Experience versus theory. Finally, Voss sat down. Continue your Hell Week. But Cross, if one recruit dies, if one recruit suffers permanent injury, I'm holding you personally responsible. And your retirement? It'll be dishonorable discharge, pension gone, legacy destroyed. Cross nodded once. Understood, sir. One more thing. Voss slid a folder across the desk. I pulled medical files on your recruits. Standard procedure. Thought you should see one in particular. Cross opened the folder, saw Maya's name, began reading. His blood went cold. Psychiatric evaluation 2018, 1 year after Ethan's death. Patient admitted following single vehicle accident. Vehicle left road at high speed, crashed into ravine. Patient claims mechanical failure. Physical evidence suggests intentional steering into ravine. No skid marks indicating braking attempt. Patient displays classic survivor's guilt markers. Extreme self-blame for father's death despite having no involvement. Believes she should have died instead. Diagnosis: major depressive disorder with suicidal ideation. Risk level high. Recommendation: intensive outpatient therapy. Close monitoring for self-harm behaviors. Cross looked up, his hands trembling. She tried to kill herself. Voss nodded slowly. A year after her father died. Drove her car off a cliff. Survived because of the airbags and a very lucky EMT who happened to be driving by. He leaned forward. Chief, I'm not showing you this to be cruel. I'm showing you because that girl is a walking time bomb. She's not here to become a SEAL. She's here to finish what she started in 2018. You don't know that, don't I? Look at how she pushes, how she refuses help, how she seems almost disappointed when she survives another evolution. Voss shook his head. She's not training to live. She's training to die with honor, and you're helping her do it. Cross wanted to argue, but the words wouldn't come, because somewhere deep down, he had suspected. had seen the signs. The way Maya treated pain as irrelevant. The way survival seemed almost like a burden rather than a victory. What do you want me to do? Pull her. Medical discharge. Get her help. That'll destroy her. Letting her continue might literally destroy her. Voss stood. You have 24 hours to decide. After that, I'm making the call myself. Cross left the office. The weight in his chest felt like a stone. Day 2 of Hell Week broke like a fist. No sunrise, just gray sky pressing down. Rain coming sideways. Wind that cut through wet uniforms and found bone. The recruits had gotten 90 minutes of sleep, collapsed in the sand, woken by instructors with bullhorns and hoses. Now they stood in formation, swaying, hallucinating, bodies beginning to cannibalize themselves for energy. This was when minds started to fracture. Cross briefed the morning evolution himself. Log runs, teams of 6, 200-pound logs, 5 miles down the beach and back. Last team to finish runs it again. The recruits groaned, too exhausted to hide it. Maya's team consisted of her, Hawk, Ghost, the Dalton twins, and a quiet woman named Williams who had proven surprisingly resilient. Behind them, Sarah Chen's team prepared their log. Cross noticed how Sarah kept glancing at Maya, measuring, calculating. They lifted their logs. Maya took the front position, shortest, weakest on paper, but somehow always managing to bear her share. They started running. Mile 1, Maya's team was in second place. Mile 2, Kyle Dalton stumbled. The log shifted. Everyone felt it. Hold it, Hawk yelled. But Kyle went down. Knee gave out. The log crashed into the sand. Cross watched from his vehicle, tracking each team, making notes, judging. Maya knelt beside Kyle, checked his knee, swollen, possibly torn meniscus. I'm done, Kyle said, tears mixing with rain. I can't. Maya looked at him, then at the rest of the team, then at the log. Doing math. 5 people now, 40 pounds each extra, over terrain that would break fresh legs. She stood. Ghost, you're the biggest. Take front position. Kevin, cover your brother's spot. Hawk rear. Williams and I will rotate middle. What about Kyle? Hawk asked. He walks beside us, carries the water, keeps us hydrated. Maya looked at Kyle. You're still on this team. Different job, same family. Kyle wiped his eyes, nodded. They lifted the log, heavier now, much heavier. They moved. Behind them, Sarah Chen's team surged forward, passing them. Sarah's voice carried on the wind. Look at that. The princess can't carry her weight, has to have the boys do it for her. Maya didn't respond, just kept moving, one step at a time. But Cross saw something flash in her eyes, not anger, something deeper, darker. Determination mixed with death wish. They finished third, not last. But Sarah's team finished first, and Sarah made sure everyone knew it. As Maya's team set down the log, Sarah approached. Nice try, Reeves, but some of us don't need special treatment from Daddy's friend to make it through. Maya turned slowly, her face blank, voice flat. What did you say? Everyone knows Chief Cross is going easy on you because of your dead father. Must be nice having connections. The words hung in the air. Recruits stopped what they were doing. Even the instructors paused. Maya stepped closer into Sarah's space. Her voice dropped to a whisper that somehow carried. My father died taking a sniper round that was meant for his team. He bled out in Syrian dirt while his best friend tried to save him. He earned his trident. He earned his death. She paused. What have you earned, Sarah, besides a washout from Rangers and a chip on your shoulder? Sarah's face went red. You little... She swung. Maya didn't block, didn't dodge, just caught the fist, twisted, used Sarah's momentum against her. In one fluid motion, Sarah was face down in the sand with Maya's knee in her back. Instructors rushed in, pulled them apart. Cross arrived down seconds later, his face thunderous. What the hell is going on here? Sarah struggled against the instructor holding her. She attacked me. She threw the first punch, Hawk said. We all saw it. Other recruits nodded, confirming. Cross looked at Sarah, then at Maya, then back at Sarah. Chen, you're done. Pack your gear. You're out of the program. Sarah's face crumbled. What? No, she provoked me. She defended herself after you assaulted her. There's a difference. Cross's voice was ice. You want to blame someone for your failure? Blame yourself. You had every chance to succeed. You chose anger instead. Sarah was led away, still protesting, still blaming everyone but herself. The other recruits watched her go, some with sympathy, most with relief. One less competitor. Cross turned to Maya. You and me, now. They walked to the edge of the training ground, away from others. The rain had stopped. Weak sunlight filtered through breaking clouds. That takedown, Cross said. Where'd you learn it? My father. Ethan taught you hand to hand? He taught me everything. Said a woman in a man's world needed every advantage. Maya's voice stayed flat. He started when I was 12. After a boy at school grabbed me, Dad made sure no one would ever grab me again. Cross nodded slowly, understanding more about Ethan's parenting than any official record could show. You could have seriously hurt her. I could have. I chose not to. Why? Maya looked at him. Those dark eyes, so much of Ethan. Because hurting her wouldn't bring him back. And because you taught me that strength isn't just endurance, it's control. Cross felt something shift in his chest. Hope, maybe. The first sign that his lessons were taking root. I need to ask you something, and I need the truth. Yes, sir. 2018, the car accident, the one that wasn't an accident. Maya's face went completely still, the mask slipping back into place. Voss showed you my file. He did. Silence. Long. Heavy. The sound of waves in the distance. It was a year after Dad died. Mom had just taken the pills. I was alone, completely alone. And I thought, she swallowed. I thought maybe they were waiting for me. Wherever they were, maybe if I joined them, we could be a family again. But you didn't die. The airbags deployed. Some EMT found me, pulled me out before the fire reached the cabin. Her voice cracked slightly. I was angry for months, angry at the airbags, angry at the EMT, angry at everyone who kept me alive when I didn't want to be. And now? Maya looked at him, really looked, the mask cracking just enough to show the scared young woman underneath. Now I don't know. Some days I want to live. Some days I just want the pain to stop. And I can't always tell the difference between those two things. Cross stepped closer, put a hand on her shoulder. Father to daughter, the role Ethan had asked him to play. Let me tell you what I see. I see a young woman who has every reason to give up and hasn't. Who could have quit 100 times and chose to keep going. Who stood in freezing water and found the strength to help someone else instead of focusing on her own pain. He paused. That's not someone who wants to die. That's someone who's forgotten how to live. There's a difference. Is there? Yes, and I'm going to teach you. That was my promise to your father. Not to make you a SEAL, to make you whole. Maya's eyes filled with tears. First time he'd seen her truly vulnerable. I don't know if I can be whole. There are pieces missing, pieces that died with him. Then we build new pieces. Together, that's what family does. She nodded, small, broken, but real. Progress. Night fell like a hammer. The recruits were given 30 minutes to sleep, huddled together in the sand, no shelter, no dry clothes. Just exhausted bodies piled like cordwood, shivering, dreaming, holding on. Cross made his rounds, checking vitals, looking for signs of serious problems. Hypothermia, dehydration. The kind of injuries pride hid until it was too late. He found Hawk sitting apart from the group, staring at the ocean. You should sleep, Hawk. The Marine didn't look up. Can't. Every time I close my eyes, I see him. Who? My brother, Luis. He died in Fallujah, IED. I was supposed to be with him that day, but I got reassigned last minute. Hawk's voice cracked. He took my spot in the convoy. Cross sat down beside him, understanding without needing to say it. Survivor's guilt. The wound that never healed. How long ago? 9 years, but feels like yesterday. It always does. Hawk looked at him then. Is that why you're doing this? Why you're so hard on us? Because you lost someone? Cross thought about lying, about maintaining the professional distance. But something in Hawk's face stopped him. The raw need to know he wasn't alone in his pain. My best friend, 7 years ago, Syria. I was the medic. I saw the sniper, hesitated 3 seconds before shouting, warning. But you couldn't save him. The round hit before my warning reached him. 3 seconds. That's all it was, but I still count them every night. Hawk nodded slowly. 2 men carrying the same ghost. Different names, same weight. Reeves, Hawk said. She's his daughter, isn't she? The friend you lost. Cross stiffened. How did you? I'm not stupid, Chief. I see the way you watch her, the way you push her harder than anyone else. You're trying to save him through her. The words hit like shrapnel, because they were true, at least partially. Maybe, or maybe I'm trying to make sure she doesn't make his mistakes. Which mistakes? Thinking sacrifice is the only thing that matters. Thinking you have to destroy yourself to be worthy. Hawk looked back at the ocean, at the endless dark. Isn't that what this whole thing is about? Destroying ourselves to become something else? No, it's about discovering what survives when everything else is stripped away. There's a difference. The Marine was quiet for a long moment, then softly, I hope you're right, Chief. Because right now, I don't know what survives. I don't know if there's anything left of me that isn't just guilt and anger. Cross put a hand on his shoulder. There is. I see it every time you help your team, every time you choose to keep going. That's the real you, not the guilt, the choice. Hawk nodded, didn't look convinced, but didn't argue either. Day 3 arrived without mercy. The recruits looked like zombies. Gray skin, hollow eyes, movements mechanical. 3 more had quit during the night, rang the bell, walked away. Ghosts even before they disappeared. 15 remained. Cross briefed the morning evolution himself. Underwater training. You'll swim to the platform 200 yards out. Dive to 30 feet, retrieve your gear, return to shore, repeat until every team completes successfully. He paused. Let it sink in. This is where people drown. Not because they can't swim, but because they panic. Because exhaustion makes you stupid. Because when you're that tired, your brain tricks you, makes you think up is down, makes you think breathing underwater is possible. He looked each recruit in the eye. Stay calm, trust your training, and if you feel yourself losing it, signal, we'll pull you out. No shame. Only dead people don't ask for help. They moved to the water. Maya's team went first. Her, Hawk, Ghost, Kevin Dalton, and Williams. Kyle had been medically discharged the night before. Knee surgery required. They swam out. Strong strokes, good form, reached the platform. Dove. Cross watched from shore. Lieutenant Commander Sarah Chen beside him, both tense. 30 seconds underwater. Normal. 45 seconds, still good. 60 seconds, starting to worry. 75 seconds. Where are they? 90 seconds. Something's wrong, Chen said. Cross was already moving. Stripping gear, ready to dive. Then Hawk surfaced, gasping, alone. Reeves, he shouted, she's tangled. Old fishing net. Can't get free. Cross dove. The water was cold, dark. 30 feet felt like 300. He kicked hard. Down, down, following the anchor line. Found her. Maya was wrapped in old fishing net. Nylon line tangled around her legs and torso. Her movements were sluggish, running out of air. But her eyes were open, aware, fighting. Cross pulled his knife, started cutting. The material was tough, each strand taking precious seconds. Maya's movement slowed, stopped. Her eyes closed. No. Cross grabbed her, cut the last strand, kicked toward the surface, pulling her with him. His lungs screamed, vision narrowing, but he didn't stop. They broke surface together. Maya wasn't breathing. Hawk and the others swam over, helped get her to the platform. Cross tilted her head back, checked airway, clear, started rescue breaths. Come on, he muttered. Breathe. Nothing. Chen was in the water now, swimming out with medical kit, but she was 200 yards away. Too far. Cross did chest compressions, hard, fast, counting. Breathe, Maya. Your father didn't die so you could drown in training. Breathe. She coughed. Water erupted from her mouth. She rolled to her side, gasping, choking, alive. Cross sat back, heart hammering, hands shaking. 35 years as a SEAL, dozens of life-saving interventions. But this one felt different. This one was personal. Maya looked at him, eyes red, face pale, but focused. Sorry, she rasped. For what? For making you save me, like you tried to save him. The words cut deeper than any knife. Maya, that's not... But she passed out before he could finish. Chen arrived, checked vitals, stabilized her. The boat came. They loaded Maya aboard. As it pulled away, Cross stood on the platform, dripping, exhausted, terrified in a way combat had never made him. Because he'd almost lost her. Almost failed Ethan twice. That night, Cross sat medical. Maya was stable, sleeping, IV in her arm, oxygen mask, monitors beeping steady rhythm. She would recover, physically. The rest remained to be seen. He looked at her face, peaceful in sleep, free from the demons that chased her when awake. Ethan's letter sat heavy in his pocket. The words he'd memorized. The plea he'd promised to honor. Teach her to live with honor, not die for it. He'd been doing it wrong, teaching her to endure, to push, to never quit. But not teaching her why survival mattered, not teaching her that living was its own form of courage. Tomorrow, she would wake, and they would have the hardest conversation yet. Maya woke at 0400. Force of habit. Her body knowing Hell Week didn't care about near-death experiences. You either kept going or you quit. She sat up, pulled out the IV, ignored the protests of monitors. Cross was waiting. Going somewhere. She looked at him, really looked. Saw the exhaustion, the worry, the weight he carried. Back to training. No. Sir, I can still... Maya, stop. He moved closer, spoke gently, like a father instead of an instructor. You almost died yesterday, but I didn't. Because I saved you. What happens next time when I'm not there? There won't be a next time. You can't promise that. None of us can. He sat on the edge of her bed. I know about 2018. The car, the cliff, the choice you made. Her body went rigid. Voss shouldn't have... He was right to tell me, because now I understand. This isn't about becoming a SEAL for you, is it? It's about finding an acceptable way to die. Silence. Long, heavy. I don't know anymore, Maya whispered. I used to think I wanted to die, to be with them. But now, she looked at her hands. Now I think I just want the pain to stop. And I don't know any other way to make it stop, except pushing until I break. There are other ways. Like what? Therapy? Pills? I tried those. They made me feel like a ghost. At least here, when I'm suffering, I feel alive. Cross understood that more than he wanted to admit. He'd spent decades using physical pain to drown out emotional agony. It worked. Until it didn't. Let me teach you something your father never learned. You can be strong and still take care of yourself. You can push hard and still know your limits. Surviving isn't the same as living. But living takes more courage than dying ever could. I don't know how to do that. Then learn. Let me teach you. But Maya, here's the thing. You can't learn while you're drowning. You can't grow while you're destroying yourself. Are you pulling me from Hell Week? Cross wanted to say yes, wanted to save her from herself. But remembering Ethan's letter, he knew that wasn't the answer. I'm giving you a choice, something your father never gave himself. You can continue, push through, probably graduate, become a SEAL. He paused. Or you can take a medical break. Rest, heal, come back next cycle when you're ready. That's quitting. No, that's wisdom. Knowing the difference between giving up and regrouping. Your father never learned that. It contributed to his death. Don't make the same mistake. Maya looked away, fighting something internal. The war between pride and self-preservation, between honor and survival. What would you do? She asked finally. Cross thought about lying, giving her the answer that would keep her safe. But she deserved truth. I'd finish because I'm stubborn and stupid and have something to prove. But Maya, I'm not the example you should follow. I'm the cautionary tale. She laughed, small, broken, but real. So what do? You make the choice. And whatever you choose, I'll support you. That's the promise I made your father. Not to make you a SEAL, but to make sure you survive becoming one. Silence stretched. Outside, the rest of Hell Week continued. Whistles, shouting, the machinery of forging warriors. Finally, Maya spoke. I'll finish, but Chief, after this is over, I need help. Real help. Because you're right. I don't know how to live, only how to survive. And I'm tired of just surviving. Cross felt something loosen in his chest, relief, hope. The first sign that maybe he was keeping his promise after all. Deal. They shook hands, formal, binding. Then Cross did something unexpected. He hugged her, brief, paternal. The kind Ethan would have given. When they separated, both had tears in their eyes. Get some rest, Cross said. Real rest. You've got 2 hours before formation. Yes, sir. As he left, Maya called out, Chief? Yeah? Thank you for not letting me drown, both times. He nodded, too emotional to speak. Walked into the dawn, found Chen waiting. She okay? She will be. And you? Cross looked at his hands, still shaking from the rescue, from the fear, from the weight of almost failing twice. Ask me when this is over. Chen nodded, understood. They walked back to the training grounds together, 2 guardians watching over warriors in the making, hoping their vigilance was enough. Day 4 dawned clear. Cruel irony. Beautiful weather for ugly work. Maya rejoined her team. They welcomed her back without questions. Just nods, pats on the shoulder. The quiet acknowledgement of warriors who'd seen death and chosen to keep going. The evolution was simple, brutal. 20-mile ruck march, 75-pound packs, over sand, through surf, across rocks. No stopping, no complaining. Just moving. Maya lasted 10 miles before her legs gave out. Not dramatically. She just sat down, looked at Cross, said 4 words. "I need help, sir." Hawk heard it, came back, took her pack, added it to his own. "Team carries team," he said simply. Kevin Dalton and Ghost flanked her, became human crutches. Williams took point, calling terrain. They moved together, slower, but together. Cross watched, saw what Ethan had wanted him to see. That strength wasn't just endurance, it was vulnerability. It was asking for help. It was trusting others to carry you when you couldn't carry yourself. They finished, not first, not last, but together. And in that moment, Cross knew Maya would be okay. Day 5 arrived like a benediction. The last day, the final test. 24 hours of continuous evolution. No sleep, just mission after mission, until bodies failed or spirits broke. 15 recruits remained. They stood on the beach, hollow-eyed, broken, beautiful in their refusal to quit. Cross addressed them. "Today is the last day. Survive this, you've passed Hell Week, but understand something. Passing Hell Week doesn't make you a SEAL. It makes you someone who can suffer and keep going. That's the foundation, not the finish." He walked the line, meeting eyes. "Some of you will hurt for weeks after this. Some will discover injuries you didn't know you had. All of you will carry scars, physical, mental, emotional." He paused. "But you'll also carry something else. The knowledge that when everything hurt and quitting looked easy, you chose to stand. That's what makes you different." The final evolution began. 24 hours blurred together. Obstacle courses, ocean swims, log PT, rescue scenarios. Everything they'd learned, everything they'd survived, compressed into one endless day. Maya moved through it like someone reborn, determined but careful, pushing but not destroying, learning the balance Cross had tried to teach. At hour 20, Hawk collapsed. Complete shutdown, his body finally saying no. The instructors moved to pull him out, but Maya stopped them. "Wait." She knelt beside him, spoke quietly. "Remember what you told me about your brother? About Luis?" Hawk nodded weakly. "He didn't die so you could quit 4 hours before finishing. He died hoping you'd live, really live. And living means finishing what you start, getting up when you fall, being the man he believed you were." Hawk's eyes filled with tears. "I can't." "Yes, you can. We all can. That's what we learned this week. We're stronger than we think. Together, we're unstoppable. So get up, let us help, and finish this thing." Hawk looked at her, at the team, at the men and women who'd suffered beside him. He stood. They carried him the last 4 hours, literally, taking turns, sharing the burden, living the lesson. When the final whistle blew, all 15 were standing, battered, bleeding, broken, but standing. Cross stood before them. For the first time in days, he smiled. "Hell Week is over. You passed. Get some rest. Tomorrow we start building you into something more." They didn't cheer. Too exhausted. Just nodded. Stumbled toward medical, toward food, toward sleep that would last for days. Maya was last in line. She stopped in front of Cross. "Thank you," she said, "for everything. You did the work. I just showed you the path." "No, you showed me how to live while walking it. That's different." She saluted. He returned it. Then she did something unexpected. Hugged him. Quick. Fierce. The kind of hug a daughter gives a father. When she pulled back, both were crying. "He'd be proud of you," Cross said. "He'd be proud of us for keeping the promise." She walked away. Cross stood alone on the beach, watching the sunrise. The start of day 6, the first day of the rest of their training. But also the first day he felt like he'd truly honored Ethan's request. He hadn't just trained Maya to survive Hell Week. He'd taught her to want to survive. And that, he realized, was the whole point. 3 weeks after Hell Week, the base felt different. Quieter somehow. Like the air itself had learned respect. 15 recruits remained. 15 out of 40. The survivors. The ones who had walked through fire and chosen not to burn. They moved differently now. Slower. More deliberate. Bodies still healing from injuries they didn't know they had. But their eyes carried something new. A weight. An understanding. They knew what they were capable of. More importantly, they knew what they were becoming. Chief Warrant Officer Garrett Cross stood on the observation deck, watching them run through tactical drills. His retirement papers sat on his desk, still unsigned, still haunting him. 6 months had become 3, then 2, then 1. Now he had 30 days left. 30 days to finish what he started. 30 days to keep his promise. Lieutenant Commander Sarah Chen approached. coffee in hand, the ritual they developed over weeks of 18-hour days. They're good, she said. They're getting there. Maya especially. She's become the anchor, the one everyone looks to. Cross watched Maya lead her fire team through a building clearing drill. Precise, controlled, but different from before. Now she communicated, asked for input, trusted her team. She had learned the lesson Ethan never did. She's going to make a good SEAL, Cross said. Better than good. She's going to be the kind that saves lives. Chen paused. You did that. You know that, right? I just showed her the path. No, you showed her how to walk it without destroying herself. That's harder. Cross smiled slightly, sipped his coffee, let the praise settle uncomfortably. Captain Voss wants to see you, Chen said. Oh, 900. Any idea what about? No, but there's someone with him, someone I don't recognize. Older guy, retired military by the look of him, carries himself like he's seen things. Cross frowned, checked his watch. 0830. Time to face whatever fresh surprise Voss had planned. Voss's office looked the same, immaculate, organized, everything in its place. The physical manifestation of a mind that believed order could solve chaos. But something was different today. A man sat in the corner chair, 62 years old, silver gray hair and a high and tight that spoke of decades of discipline. Face weathered like old leather, seamed with scars both visible and invisible. Eyes that had seen combat in 3 different wars. He wore civilian clothes, but everything about him screamed military. More than that, SEAL. And not just any SEAL. Cross recognized him instantly. Everyone in the teams would. Commander David Stone, callsign Reaper. The legend. The ghost. The man who had led more successful operations than any commander in naval special warfare history. And the man who had been in Syria the day Ethan died. Cross stopped in the doorway, heart hammering. Chief Cross, Voss said. Close the door. Sit down. Cross did, his eyes never leaving Stone. You know who I am, Stone said. Not a question. Yes, sir. Everyone does. Then you know I was in Al-Qaim, March 2017. My team was providing overwatch for Master Chief Reeves during the IED clearance operation. Cross's throat tightened. I know. Stone leaned forward, his eyes piercing. I was on the roof of the building across the courtyard, had eyes on the whole thing, saw the sniper move into position, saw you covering from the alley. He paused, saw those 3 seconds. Cross felt like he'd been punched. Sir, Let me finish. Stone's voice was quiet, authoritative, the kind of voice that had commanded respect for 40 years. I've read every after-action report, every debrief, every analysis, and I came here to tell you something you should have heard 7 years ago. Silence. Those 3 seconds didn't matter. Cross stared at him. What? I had the same sight picture you did, saw the scope glint the same moment you did, processed it the same way. By the time either of us could have shouted a warning, the sniper had already pulled the trigger. Sound travels faster than reaction time. Ethan was hit before the first syllable could leave your mouth. Stone shook his head. You didn't kill him, Cross. You couldn't have saved him. No one could. Cross felt something crack inside his chest. 7 years of guilt. 7 years of counting those 3 seconds in the dark. 7 years of believing he'd failed his brother. Why didn't you tell me this before? Because I wasn't sure. Because I needed to review the footage. Because I was dealing with my own guilt. Stone's voice softened. I was Overwatch. I should have spotted that sniper before he got into position. I didn't. We both failed, and we both survived. That's war. Voss cleared his throat. Commander Stone came to me last week. He'd been tracking the recruits, specifically Maya Reeves. Cross looked between them. Why? Stone stood, walked to the window, looked out at the training grounds where Maya was currently running her team through combat simulations. Because Ethan made me promise. Same as he made you promise. Stone turned. 3 weeks before Al-Qaim, we had a conversation. He knew something was wrong, felt it. That sixth sense operators develop. He told me about Maya, about his fears for her, about how she had the same fire he had at her age. What did he ask you? To watch over her if something happened to him, to make sure she had a path forward if she chose the military, and to tell her the truth about how he died. Stone paused. All of it, including the part about how he chose to stay in that courtyard when he could have pulled back. Cross frowned. What do you mean chose to stay? Stone sighed, sat back down. The IED wasn't a mystery, Cross. Ethan identified it 5 minutes before he started working on it. Standard protocol would have been to evacuate the courtyard, call EOD support, wait for the bomb disposal robot. But Ethan saw the civilians in that building, saw that any evacuation would take them across the pressure plate's trigger zone. He made the call to stay and defuse manually. He never told me that. He never told anyone. Made it seem like time pressure forced the decision, but I was on comms with him, heard the whole thing. Stone met Cross's eyes. Ethan chose to risk his life so those civilians could live. The sniper didn't kill him. His own choice did, and that choice saved 7 lives. Cross felt tears forming. All these years he'd blamed himself, blamed his hesitation, when the truth was so much more complicated and so much more like Ethan. Sacrifice, always sacrifice. Why are you telling me this now? Because Maya needs to hear it, and she needs to hear it from both of us. Stone stood again. The graduation ceremony is Friday. I'm officiating, Admiral's orders. And after the ceremony, you and I are going to sit down with that young woman and tell her everything. The whole truth, no more secrets, no more guilt, just the facts of how her father lived and died. Cross nodded slowly. There's one more thing, Voss said. He slid a folder across the desk. Cross opened it, read the contents. His eyes widened. This is an invitation, Stone said. The Naval Special Warfare Development Group is starting a new advanced training program. Elite of the elite. I've been asked to select the first candidates. He nodded toward the window. I want Maya Reeves. I've been watching her for 3 weeks. She's got something special. The same thing her father had, but different. Better. She knows how to survive without destroying herself. That's rare. She just finished Hell Week. She hasn't even graduated yet. I know what I'm looking at, Stone said. She'll graduate, and when she does, she'll have a choice. Standard SEAL deployment, or the advanced program under my supervision. He paused. I'm offering her what I wish I could have offered Ethan, a chance to be great without being destroyed by the process. Cross looked at the folder, at the opportunity it represented, at the legacy it could create. She'll want to decide for herself. Of course, that's the point. Stone smiled slightly. Her father's last words to me were about her. He said, don't let them break her like they broke us. I intend to honor that request. Cross felt the weight of 7 years begin to lift. He wasn't alone. He never had been. Friday arrived with crystalline clarity. The kind of California morning that made people understand why Paradise myths started in places like this. 15 recruits stood in dress uniforms on Coronado Beach. Families behind them. Fellow SEALs in attendance. The Admiral presiding. And beside the Admiral, Commander David Stone in his own dress uniform, medals catching the morning sun. Cross stood to the side, in uniform, chest covered in ribbons earned over 3 decades, soon to be retired, soon to be history, but not yet. The Admiral spoke about sacrifice, about honor, about the men and women who chose to serve. The necessary words, meaningful words, but not what mattered most. What mattered was the moment he called each name, handed each trident pin, welcomed each warrior into the brotherhood. Hawk Martinez was called forth. He stood tall as the Admiral pinned his trident, no longer the cocky Marine who had mocked Maya on day 1, now something different, something forged. Ghost stepped forward, 7th, still silent, still intense, but now carrying the quiet confidence of a man who had proven himself. The Dalton twins went together, 11 and 12. Kevin accepting on behalf of Kyle, who watched from a wheelchair with his knee in a brace, determined to try again next cycle. Maya Reeves. She stepped forward, spine straight, eyes forward. But Cross saw the tremor in her hands, the emotion she fought to control. The Admiral pinned the trident to her uniform, the gold gleaming in the sunlight. Welcome to the teams, Petty Officer Reeves. Thank you, sir. She stepped back into formation, but not before glancing at Cross, a look that said everything. We did it. Together, for him. Cross nodded, pride threatening to overwhelm him. When the last name was called, when the last trident was pinned, Commander Stone stepped forward. With the Admiral's permission, I'd like to say a few words. The Admiral nodded. Stone faced the new SEALs, his voice carried across the beach, steady and sure. 7 years ago, I stood on a rooftop in Syria and watched one of the finest operators I've ever known give his life to save civilians he'd never met. Master Chief Ethan Reeves didn't die because of bad luck. He died because he made a choice. He chose others over himself. He chose mission over safety. He chose to be what a SEAL is supposed to be. Stone's eyes found Maya. His daughter stands before you today. Petty Officer Reeves, you have earned your trident through suffering and sacrifice, and an iron will that would make any father proud. But I want you to know something. Your father didn't want you to be like him. He wanted you to be better, to learn from his mistakes, to find a way to serve without losing yourself in the process. He walked closer to Maya. He made me promise to tell you the truth about how he died. So here it is. He saw the danger. He knew the risk, and he stayed anyway because 7 civilians were in that building and he couldn't walk away. 3 seconds before the sniper shot him, he radioed me and said, "If this goes wrong, tell Maya I chose this. Tell her I'm not sorry, and tell her to live." Those were his last words. Maya's face crumbled, tears streaming, but she didn't break formation, didn't move, just stood there absorbing the truth she'd needed to hear for 7 years. He chose, Stone continued, just like you chose to be here. Just like Chief Cross chose to honor his promise and train you. Just like you'll choose, every day, what kind of SEAL you want to be. He stepped back. Choose wisely. Choose with honor. And when the time comes to sacrifice, make sure it's for something worth dying for, not just for dying's sake. The ceremony concluded. Families rushed forward, hugs, tears, celebration. Cross stayed back, watching, smiling, feeling the bittersweet ache of endings. Stone approached him. "You did good work, Chief." "We both did. Ethan would be proud of both of us." Cross felt his throat tighten. "I spent 7 years blaming myself." "I know. So did I." Stone put a hand on his shoulder. "That's the burden we carry, the ones who survive. But Cross, you took that burden and turned it into something meaningful. You saved his daughter, not just from Hell Week, from herself. That's more than Ethan could have asked for." Maya found them. "Chief, Commander." They turned. She stood there in her dress uniform, trident gleaming, face still wet with tears, but her eyes were clear, clearer than Cross had ever seen them. "Thank you," she said, "both of you, for telling me the truth, for keeping his promises." She swallowed. "All my life I thought he left us, thought he chose the mission over us. Now I know he chose the mission for us, for everyone. That's different." Stone nodded. "Your father was a hero, but not because he died, because he lived with purpose. I'm offering you a chance to do the same." He handed her the folder from Voss's office. "Advanced Training Program. DevGru, the best of the best. You'd be learning from operators who've done things most people can't imagine. It's hard, harder than Hell Week, but I think you're ready." Maya opened the folder, read the contents. Her eyes widened. "This is an opportunity, if you want it." She looked at Cross. "What do you think?" Cross smiled. "I think your father would tell you to take it, and I think you should trust yourself enough to make your own decision." Maya closed the folder, nodded once. "I'll do it." Stone smiled, the first real smile Cross had seen from him. "Good. Report to Virginia Beach in 3 months. Get some rest first, you've earned it." He walked away to congratulate other graduates. Maya turned to Cross. "Chief, Petty Officer Reeves," he corrected gently. "Sounds good. Feels surreal." She looked at her trident. "I keep thinking I'll wake up and it'll have been a dream." "It's real. You earned it." "We earned it. You kept your promise." Cross pulled out Ethan's letter, the paper worn from constant handling, the words etched in his memory. "This belongs to you now. Your father's last words. His hopes for you. I think he'd want you to have it." Maya took the letter, read it again, though she'd read it before. This time the words hit different, deeper, more true. When she finished, she folded it carefully, put it in her pocket, over her heart, where Cross had carried it for 7 years. "Thank you," she whispered, "for everything, for not giving up on me, for teaching me how to live. You taught yourself. I just showed you the path." She hugged him, fierce, grateful, the kind of hug a daughter gives a father. When she pulled back, she asked the question, "What about you, Voss's extension offer?" Cross shook his head. "No, it's time to let go, time to trust that the next generation can carry the torch." "What will you do?" "I don't know, and for the first time in my life, that doesn't terrify me. It excites me." Maya smiled, that easy smile, the one that said she understood. "Wherever you go, whatever you do, thank you for keeping your promise, for saving my life, for teaching me that Dad's death didn't have to define mine. Thank you for teaching me the same thing." They stood together, mentor and student, veteran and recruit, 2 people bound by a promise made in Syrian dirt and kept on California sand. "Stay in touch?" Maya asked. "Always. You're family now. That doesn't change." She nodded, smiled, returned to her teammates, to the celebration, to the life she'd earned. Cross watched her go, feeling lighter than he had in years. The promise was kept. The burden was lifted. The war was finally over. Monday morning, Cross signed his retirement papers. 35 years, done. He cleaned out his office, packed his gear, said goodbye to Chen and the other instructors. Voss found him at his truck. So you're really doing it, walking away. It's time. What about watching over your legacy, making sure the next generation does it right? Cross handed him a folder, thick, detailed. Everything you need is in there, training protocols, psychological assessments, success metrics. Give it to whoever takes over. They'll do fine. Voss took the folder, respect in his eyes. You're a good man, Cross. I didn't always see it, but you are. You're not bad yourself, just different. The Navy needs both, old and new, traditional and innovative. That's how we stay sharp. They shook hands. Former adversaries, current allies. Cross climbed into his truck, started the engine, looked one last time at the base, at the beach, at the obstacle courses, at the places where he'd spent 3 decades forging warriors. Then he drove away, didn't look back. Because looking back was for people who had regrets. Cross had none. 1 year later, Cross stood on a different beach. Oregon coast, small town, population 3,000. The kind of place where everyone knew everyone and tourists came to escape the noise of modern life. He'd bought a small house, 2 bedrooms, ocean view, workshop in the garage. He spent his days fishing, reading, volunteering at the local VA hospital, helping veterans transition to civilian life, using his experience to guide others through the struggle he'd once feared. And slowly, painfully, beautifully, he learned to live. Not survive, live. His phone rang, Maya's name on the screen. Chief? Not Chief anymore, just Garrett. She laughed. Still couldn't quite manage calling him by his first name. How's Oregon? Quiet, peaceful, strange, but good. Good strange or bad strange? Good. I'm learning to be okay with silence, with rest, with not being needed every second. That's progress. How about you? How's DevGru training? Hard. Harder than anything, but good. Commander Stone pushes us, but different than Hell Week. Smarter, more strategic. She paused. We deployed last month. Hostage extraction, high-value target. Everything you taught us saved lives. We got everyone home. Cross felt pride swell in his chest. You did that, not me. We did it together. That's what you taught us. Together we're unstoppable. They talked for an hour about her missions, his woodworking projects, her dating life, his attempts at cooking, the mundane details that made life worth living. Before hanging up, Maya said, I'm coming to visit next month, if that's okay. You're always welcome, you know that. Good, because I need to talk to you about something, about training, about maybe becoming an instructor someday. And I need advice from the best. Cross smiled, the cycle continuing, the legacy passing forward. I'd be honored. 2 years after that, Maya called again. I got promoted. To what? Senior Chief? Cross whistled low. Youngest senior chief in SEAL history. Second youngest. Commander Stone was younger, by 3 months. He won't let me forget it. They both laughed. I'm proud of you, Cross said. Your father would be too. I know, I feel him sometimes when I'm in the field. When decisions matter, it's like he's there guiding me. He is. We carry our dead with us. That's how they stay alive. Silence. Comfortable. The kind only family shared. Chief? Garrett? Maya took a breath. They're offering me an instructor position. Coronado, basic underwater demolition SEAL training. Hell Week specifically. Cross felt his heart swell. And I don't know if I'm ready. I don't know if I can be what you were to me. You can't be what I was. You'll be something different, something better. Because you know things I didn't. You understand things I had to learn the hard way. He paused. Take the job, Maya. Pass on what you learn. That's how the legacy lives. Will you come for my first Hell Week as instructor? Try and stop me. 4 years after graduation, Cross returned to Coronado. The beach looked the same. The obstacles, the barracks, the endless Pacific stretching toward horizons he'd once thought were his only future. But he was different. Gray-white hair now, 61 years old, civilian clothes that felt more comfortable than uniforms ever had. The weight of 3 decades lifted, peace in his eyes where there had once been only war. He stood on the observation deck, watching. Below, 40 new recruits stood in formation, eyes full of hope and fear and determination. Just like the class 4 years ago, just like every class before that. And in front of them, Senior Chief Maya Reeves. 27 years old now. Short, dark hair, still in regulation cut, but carrying the weathered confidence of someone who'd seen things, done things, survived things. Navy Type 3 uniform, crisp and perfect. Senior Chief anchor insignia gleaming on her collar. Multiple deployment ribbons across her chest. Whistle around her neck. She was beautiful. Not in the superficial way, in the way warriors were beautiful. Scarred and strong and absolutely certain of her purpose. Cross watched her address the recruits. Her voice carried across the beach, strong and clear. "My name is Senior Chief Maya Reeves. I'm here to teach you what it means to be a SEAL. Not the glamorous part, the hard part. The part that breaks you and rebuilds you and shows you who you really are." She walked the line, meeting eyes, judging, exactly as Cross had done. "Some of you will quit, that's okay. Better to quit here than in combat. Some of you will discover limits you didn't know you had. That's good. Knowing your limits is the first step to exceeding them." She stopped, looked at the ocean, at the waves that had tested her and tempered her. "But all of you, everyone standing here, will learn one lesson above all others. You're stronger than you think. Together, you're unstoppable. And when everything hurts and quitting looks easy, you can still choose to stand." She turned back to them. "That choice? That's what makes you a SEAL, not muscles, not tactics, the choice." She raised her whistle. "Welcome to Hell Week. Let's find out who you are." She blew the whistle. They ran. Cross smiled, tears in his eyes. The legacy lived on. Later, after the first evolution, Maya found him on the observation deck. "You came. Told you I would." They stood together, watching her recruits struggle through surf torture. Some already quitting, others holding on. The eternal cycle. "It feels different," Maya said, "being on this side, watching instead of suffering. It never gets easier, just different." "How did you do it? 35 years? Cross thought about the question, about all the answers he could give. "I remembered why I started, and when I forgot, I let the recruits remind me. They're not just learning from us, we're learning from them. Every cycle, every class, they teach us things we forgot we knew." Maya nodded, understanding. "Commander Stone retired last month. Did you hear?" "I did, 45 years, hell of a run. He gave me something, said you should see it too." She pulled out an envelope, old, yellowed, government issue. It was in the Syrian mission files, classified until now. Cross opened it, read the contents. A recording transcript, audio from Stone's comm system, the minutes before Ethan's death. "Stone, Reaper actual to Demon 1-1. You've got movement in the third floor window. Might be nothing, might be hostile. Ethan, copy Reaper, I see it. Can you get a shot?" Stone, negative. "Angle's wrong, recommend you pull back, wait for robot." Ethan, can't. Got civilians in the east building. They move, they hit the pressure plate. I can defuse in 60 seconds. Stone, that's a risk, Demon. Ethan, pause. Stone, if this goes sideways, tell Maya I chose this. Tell her I'm not sorry, and tell her to live. Really live, not just survive. Stone, you're going to tell her yourself. Ethan, soft laugh. Yeah, sure, 60 seconds. Starting now. 47 seconds of silence. Rifle shot. Stone, Demon 1-1, Demon, man down, medic. Cross lowered the transcript, tears streaming down his face. He knew, Maya said quietly. He saw the danger, made his choice anyway. That's who he was. That's who I want to be. Brave enough to choose, wise enough to live with it. Cross put an arm around her shoulders. They stood together, watching the ocean, watching the recruits, watching the legacy continue. You already are, he said. You've been her since the day you walked onto this beach. Maya smiled. That easy smile, Ethan's smile, but also her own. Thanks, Dad. The words slipped out, surprised them both, but it felt right. Cross squeezed her shoulder. You're welcome, kid. They stood in silence, father and daughter, not by blood, by choice. The sun began to set, orange and gold painting the Pacific. The same sun that had set on Ethan's last day. The same sun that would rise on 1,000 more days of training, of sacrifice, of warriors being forged. Cross thought about Ethan, about the promise, about the 7 years of guilt and grief and growth. And for the first time, when he thought about his brother, he didn't feel pain. He felt gratitude. Gratitude for 30 years of brotherhood, for the privilege of training Ethan's daughter, for the lessons learned through loss, for the chance to turn guilt into grace. He pulled out his phone, composed a text. To Ethan's old number, disconnected years ago, but the act mattered more than the delivery. Promise kept, brother. Maya's a SEAL. a leader, an instructor, everything you hoped, everything I promised. She's not just surviving it anymore. She's living, really living, and she's going to teach others to do the same. Your legacy doesn't end, it evolves. Rest easy until we meet again. Stone. He sent it, knowing it would never deliver, but needing to say it anyway. Then he walked back to the observation deck, stood beside Maya, watched the new class struggle and suffer and slowly transform. The war was over. The promise was kept. And Garrett Cross, for the first time in 35 years, was at peace. Not chief, not instructor, not warrior. Just a man, learning to live. And that, he finally understood, was the greatest mission of all. The legacy lived on. The promise was eternal. And somewhere in Syrian soil or California sand or Oregon peace, Master Chief Ethan Reeves rested easy. His daughter had not just survived. She had become exactly what he'd hoped. A warrior who knew how to live. The end. Epilogue. 10 years after graduation. Arlington National Cemetery. Maya Reeves stood before her father's grave. Master Chief Ethan Reeves, Navy EOD, 2017. Beside her stood Garrett Cross, 71 now, white hair, weathered face, but still standing tall, still carrying the bearing of a SEAL. Between them a young boy, 7 years old, dark hair, bright eyes, named after a grandfather he'd never meet. Ethan, that's your grandpa, Maya said, kneeling beside her son. He was a hero, he saved lots of people, and he loved you even though he never got to meet you. Young Ethan looked at the headstone, then at the flag, then at the trident insignia carved into the marble. Was he brave? The bravest? Like you? Maya smiled, looked at Cross, then back at her son. I learned from the best. She placed fresh flowers on the grave, white roses, Ethan's favorite. Cross knelt beside her, put his hand on the cold marble. I kept my promise, brother, he whispered. All of it. She's happy. She's whole. She's a mother. And she's still a warrior. He smiled. You'd love your grandson. He's got your stubbornness and your smile. They stood together. 3 generations. Past, present, future. The wind rustled through the trees, carrying the sounds of other visitors. Other conversations with the dead. But this conversation was over. The promise finally was complete. Maya took Cross's hand, took her son's hand. Let's go home, she said. They walked away from the grave, through the rows of white headstones, past the tomb of the unknown soldier, out into the living world. Behind them, the sun caught Ethan's headstone, made the trident gleam. And somewhere, somehow, a father smiled. His daughter was home. His legacy was safe. And love, as it turned out, was stronger than death after all. The end.